So far we've talked about sequential programming, where we start at the very beginning of the module and we go to the end. No deviation, one line to the next line to the next line to the next line. Then we went into making decisions, where we used if statements and switch statements. And now the final format for programming is loops. And loops are one of the most powerful formats that you can have in programming. You can take the same code and run it multiple times using different pieces of data. So think about it. When you do, say a company does a electric bill, it uses the same code over and over again. It just pulls in different information from different customers. And that's what makes programming so strong, so versatile. So let's look at looping, or it's also called iterations. And so right here we have the while loop. And basically this is very standard, generic type of loop. The while loop, if you look at it right here, while, and again, we have a true-false condition just like we did in the if statement. Something is going to either be true or false. If it's true, we go into the loop and then we come back to the while. Now, if you notice here, curly braces. So while the condition is true, we will keep in this little loop area. As soon as this condition becomes false, we jump out of the loop completely. And this is called a pre-test loop. We pre-test the condition before we enter the loop. So one of the things you want to do is make sure that somewhere in the loop there's a condition, there's some kind of test or something to make sure the condition changes to false at some times. Otherwise the loop goes on forever and it's an infinite loop. So that's something really you don't want to do. Infinite loops, just spins forever, never gets out of it. So while loop will execute zero, it could execute no times. If the condition's never met as false the first time through, it'll jump right over it. So let's look at the while loop. And we close this down. We'll bring up the while loop. Oops, open project, there we go. The while loop. And what I want to do is bring up the source code. And here it is for this while loop. Now if you look at this while loop, here it is in main. I've set a variable number. It's an integer, and I've initialized it to 1. So it's going to say here, while number is less than or equal to 5, print out hello. Then we're going to increment the number by 1. So the first time through, number is going to equal 1. Yep, 1 is less than or equal to 5. Print out hello. Number is now 2. Go back here. 2 is less than or equal to 5. Print out hello. Go down to number. Number now is 3. 3 is less than or equal to 5. Print out hello. 4. 4 is less than or equal to 5. Print out hello. Now 5. 5 is less than or equal to 5. Print out hello. 6. 6 is not less than or equal to 5. So we're going to get out of the while loop. So we'll get out of here and just print out that's all. So let's run that. And there it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hellos, and then that's all. We need to have this number plus increment, plus plus means increment, by 1 in there. If I took this out, this would be an infinite loop and never end. So here we go, and it's never ending. It just keeps going, so let's just stop that. Okay. Okay, it is stopped now. Okay, good. So we'll get rid of that, put that back in, run it again, 5 times hello, that's all. Okay, so that's the while loop. Let's go back to the slides. And here's kind of a flow chart for that, as we saw a flow chart for the if statement. Here's some kind of Boolean expression, and in that last one it was while our variable is less than or equal to 5, we're going to print out something. So as long as it's true, we just keep in this loop. As soon as it's false, we exit the loop. Okay, I think there could be multiple statements. It doesn't have to be just one statement. Again, I can have curly braces for multiple statements. And truthfully, if I only had one statement for the while, which I probably never have to do because I have to increment something, I don't need curly braces. But for multiple statements, I do need the curly braces. And the other loop I want to talk about is the do while loop. This one we execute first and then we test. So it's always going to go through at least once. So we execute the statements, do the test. If it's true, we'll execute the statements again. Once it's false, we just continue on. So that's the do while loop. So let's see if I have anything with the do while loop. Yes, test average 1. So let's look at that one. So we'll close this. So we got one called test average 1. There it is. Okay, in this one, we got 3 scores, 3 test scores. We're going to put them in score 1, score 2, score 3, and they're all integers, so I declare that right here. We're going to determine the average. We're going to put that in a double. And we're going to determine whether we want to repeat it or not. This is going to hold either y or an n for repeating, going through the loop. And then we also have a string input to hold input. So this program calculates the average of 3 test scores. So again, I'm going to have my scanner keyboard to read in keyboard input. So I have a keyboard object from the scanner class. And so this is a do while. In a do while, we just put do, we have curly braces, and then down here is while, here is the test. It's at the end. And there is a semicolon after this while, and only after this while. None after do. So we're going to go through at least once. So it's going to say, enter the first test score, we'll enter it. Enter the second score, enter it. Enter score 3, we'll enter it. And then we'll just do a next line to clear up anything from the buffer. Then we'll do an average, score 1, score 2, score 3. These are integers, we'll divide by 3, get the average. And then we're going to print out in a formatted output the average. And then we're going to print out a blank line. And it's going to say, would you like to average another set of test scores? And we're going to enter either a capital Y for yes or a capital N for no. So we're going to read in what the person typed, and we're going to get the first character. So even if you typed yes or even if you typed no, what it's going to do is just strip off the first character, put it in repeat. So if repeat equals capital Y or repeat equals small y, we're going to repeat the whole process. So this is do while. So we're going to go through the do, and we're going to go through it again. So let's run it. So we always go through at least once. This is a post test. We always go through at least once. So we'll say 90, 85, and 88. So there's my 3 test scores. The average is 87.67. Would you like to do another test score? Let's say yes. Okay, so then we go back through it again. 77, 90, 82. The average is 83. Would you like to do another test score? And this will keep, as long as I keep saying yes, it's going to keep going through this. And as soon as I say anything else but yes or Y, it's going to end. So even if I say no or whatever, and it ends. So this is a do while. Again, a do while is a post test. You start with do, curly brace, all your instructions, You end it with a curly brace with the while statement and what you're testing for, semicolon. Okay, we'll close this up. And again, this is the flowchart for the do while loop. And one more thing, let's look at the for loop. The for loop is also a pre-test loop. It can take the place of a do while. And it puts everything into basically one line. We initialize, we test, and we update. And then we put the statements in between. So a for loop does everything in one line that you could do in a while loop. And it kind of looks like this. Boolean expression true, do statements, update it, go back. So let's look at the for, and that's in Squares Java. Oh, let's shut off NetBeans. So let's bring up Squares Java. Okay, here it is. And again, everything I do in with a for loop, I could do done with a while loop. This is just another way of representing the same thing. So here we have an integer. I declared it as numbers. Number is variable name, and that's the loop control variable. And I'm going to print out a header saying number squared. So what I'm going to do is just square the numbers between 1 and 10. So here I start number equals 1. And so this initializes it. Here's my initialize. For number equals 1, initialize number. Number is less than or equal to 10. 1 is less than or equal to 10. I'm going to print out number. And then I'm going to do number times number, 1 times 1, which is 1. And that's going to print out. Then I go back up here and I increment the number. Now number is 2. Is 2 less than or equal to 10? Yes, it is. 2, and then 2 times 2, which is 4, will be printed out. Come back up here. Number 3 gets incremented. Is 3 less than or equal to 10? Yes. So I'll put out 3 and then 9. 4. Is 4 less than or equal to 10? Yes, it is. 4, then 16. And it keeps on going until I get up to 10. 10. Is 10 less than or equal to 10? Yes, it is. 10. I'll print out 100. 11. Is 11 less than or equal to 10? No, it's not. So it will skip out of the loop completely. So this for statement does everything a while statement does, but it does it on one line. So let me just run it. And there it is. So here we got number squared, 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9, so on and so forth, up to 10, 100. And that shows you kind of how the for statement works. Now, one thing to know, since I declared number equals 1 here, if I had to say right here, I could say right here, integer, number equals 1, and remove that up from up here, whoops, like that. This is proper. But if I do it this way, number's scope is only for the for statement. As soon as I leave the for statement, if I try to do anything with number outside the for statement, like say system.out.print, let's say print line, number, it's going to bomb because number is out of scope. You can't find the symbol. And it says right here, can't find this symbol. Because the scope of number, since I declared it here, is only here. Now if I got rid of this int and declared it up here again, it's in scope. The red line goes away and it will print out number. Boom. And it prints out the 11, which is what it was at the end, which caused it to get out of the loop. So that is the for statement. Again, any questions, just email me or put it in the discussion board. Thank you.